On May 12, 2016, a 33-year-old woman named Samantha set out on what was meant to be a carefree getaway. She boarded a large cruise ship departing from Galveston, Texas, accompanied by two close friends. The plan was simple: a 4-day escape filled with laughter, relaxation, and exploration across the Caribbean. Their itinerary included stops in Mexico, with one of the highlights being a visit to a beautiful island known for its crystal-clear waters and vibrant atmosphere. The ship itself was nothing short of impressive. Towering over the ocean with more than a dozen decks, it carried thousands of passengers, along with a large crew dedicated to entertainment and hospitality. On board, guests could enjoy everything from fine dining and lively bars to pools, water slides, nightclubs, and even a full-service spa. It was a floating resort designed to create unforgettable memories. Samantha and her friends wasted no time diving into the experience. Their first evening was spent moving from one bar to another, meeting new people, taking photos, and enjoying the festive energy around them. Drinks flowed freely, and like many others on board, Samantha indulged. Over several hours, she consumed multiple alcoholic beverages, including cocktails and beers, along with a few complimentary drinks offered by staff and fellow passengers. As the night stretched on and fatigue began to set in, her friends decided to call it a night. They returned to their shared cabin, looking forward to rest after a long and exciting day. Samantha, however, wasn't quite ready for the night to end. Wanting to explore a bit more, she stayed behind and continued socializing. Eventually, she found herself with another passenger they had met earlier that day. Together, they made their way up to one of the higher decks. It was late, and the ship was surrounded by open ocean, far from land. The atmosphere was quiet, with only the sound of the sea and the faint hum of the ship cutting through the darkness. Lounge chairs were lined neatly along the edge, facing the vast black horizon. In that moment, Samantha climbed onto one of the chairs and then sat on the railing itself. It may have seemed harmless, just a brief, impulsive act, but it carried enormous risk. Within seconds, she lost her balance. With nothing to hold on to, she tipped backward and disappeared over the edge, falling from a significant height into the ocean below. The person with her had also been drinking. Whether he clearly saw what happened or was simply confused by her sudden absence is uncertain. He looked over the railing into the darkness, but saw nothing but empty space and the water far below. Instead of raising an alarm, he left the area, said nothing to anyone, had another drink, and eventually went to sleep. Because of this, no one realized Samantha was missing until the following morning. Her friends, noticing her absence, became concerned and alerted the ship's crew. A search began immediately. Passengers were asked to return to their cabins so a full head count could be conducted. It quickly became clear that Samantha was not on board. Crew members reviewed surveillance footage and eventually discovered the moment she fell. By the time authorities were contacted and a search operation began, more than half a day had already passed. The delay proved critical. Rescue teams combed a vast stretch of ocean, covering thousands of square miles. Despite their efforts, there was no sign of her. The conclusion was heartbreaking. She had likely lost her life shortly after entering the water. In the aftermath, her family sought answers. Legal action was taken against the cruise company, with claims that she had been overserved alcohol and that the situation could have been prevented. However, after a lengthy legal process, it was determined that staff had no clear indication she was dangerously intoxicated and therefore could not have reasonably known to stop serving her. Samantha was remembered not for the tragedy, but for the life she lived. She was a mother of 4, known for her vibrant personality and the joy she brought to those around her. Her story became a powerful reminder of how quickly a single decision made in the wrong moment can change everything. Several years later, on May 24, 2023, another young life would be lost under very different but equally tragic circumstances. An 18-year-old named Cameron had traveled to the Bahamas to celebrate his high school graduation. It was supposed to be a milestone trip, a reward for years of hard work and a chance to enjoy time with friends before the next chapter of life began. During his visit, he joined an evening cruise known for its unique theme. The vessel was designed to resemble an old pirate ship, offering guests a mix of entertainment, scenic views, and a lively party environment. Music played, people laughed, and the mood was upbeat as the boat moved through the waters near Nassau. As the night progressed, Cameron, like many others, had a few drinks. The energy on board grew more playful, and at one point a challenge was thrown his way. His friends dared him to jump into the water. Cameron was athletic, confident, and known for embracing challenges. At school, he had built a reputation as a talented basketball player, someone who was both physically capable and fearless. To him, the dare may have seemed just another test of courage. Some people nearby immediately recognized the danger. A few even tried to stop him, warning him not to go through with it. But in the moment, the excitement outweighed caution. Without hesitation, Cameron jumped. The splash was followed by cheers and laughter, but the mood shifted almost instantly. The ocean at night is unpredictable, and visibility is extremely limited. Cameron began swimming, but something felt off. A life ring was thrown toward him, yet instead of grabbing it, he moved away from it. Within moments, he disappeared into the darkness.
As soon as Cameron vanished beneath the surface, the atmosphere on the boat changed from excitement to panic. What had moments earlier felt like a harmless dare now revealed its true danger. The crew quickly realized the seriousness of the situation and contacted emergency services without delay. Search and rescue teams were deployed, scanning the waters where Cameron had last been seen. For hours and then days, authorities searched tirelessly, covering a wide area in hopes of finding any sign of him. Helicopters circled overhead while boats combed through the dark waters below. But despite the scale of the operation, there was no trace of him. The area where the incident occurred was known to be home to various marine life, including sharks. This detail quickly gained attention online, especially after videos recorded by other passengers began circulating. In one of the clips, a shadow-like shape could be seen moving through the water near where Cameron had been swimming. Many viewers speculated that it could have been a shark, suggesting that this might explain how quickly he disappeared. However, marine experts urged caution. They pointed out that shark attacks on humans are extremely rare, particularly in such conditions, and warned against jumping to conclusions based on unclear footage. In the end, what exactly happened in those final moments remains uncertain. What is known is that Cameron did not return. His life, full of potential and promise, was cut tragically short. He was remembered as a determined and driven young man, someone who thrived in competition and wasn't afraid to take risks. To his family and friends, he was more than just an athlete. He was a beloved son and companion whose future had seemed bright. His story, like Samantha's, highlights how quickly situations can escalate when risk and environment collide. But not every story of someone going overboard ends in tragedy. On November 23, 2022, a 28-year-old man named James boarded a cruise ship in New Orleans with a large group of family members. The trip was meant to be a joyful Thanksgiving celebration at sea, filled with food, laughter, and shared experiences. The first part of his journey was exactly that. He spent time with relatives, enjoyed drinks, and even took part in onboard entertainment. At one point, he joined an air guitar competition and managed to win, earning himself a free drink and plenty of cheers from those around him. As the evening came to an end, James decided to head back to his cabin alone. What happened next remains a mystery to him even today. His next memory was waking up in the open ocean. Disoriented and surrounded by nothing but water, he realized that he had somehow fallen from the ship. It was gone, completely out of sight. The vastness of the ocean stretched in every direction. For someone who had always feared drowning, this was his worst nightmare brought to life. But instead of panicking, James made a decision. He would keep moving, no matter what. He began to tread water and swim, determined to stay alive for as long as possible. Hours passed. As daylight broke, the full reality of his situation became clear. The sun beat down relentlessly, and the salt water irritated his skin and eyes. At one point, he drifted through a swarm of jellyfish and was stung repeatedly. The pain was intense, but he had no choice but to endure it. Later, he noticed something else, a fin cutting through the water nearby. Moments later, he felt something brush against him beneath the surface. Convinced it might be a shark, he reacted instinctively, kicking as hard as he could. Whatever it was, it moved away and did not return. Back on the ship, it took time for anyone to realize he was missing. Like in many such cases, the delay proved significant. By the time his absence was noticed and reported, many hours had already passed. A search operation was launched, but James was still out there, alone, drifting and fighting to survive. He continued to stay afloat for nearly an entire day. As night approached once again, exhaustion began to take over. His body was weakening and the odds were against him. Then, in what seemed like a final stroke of luck, he spotted a vessel in the distance. Summoning what little energy he had left, he swam toward it. Against all odds, someone on board noticed him. A life preserver was thrown in his direction, offering a lifeline to safety. But the ocean was not done testing him. Strong currents and waves made it nearly impossible for him to reach it. Time was running out. Emergency responders were called in, and eventually a helicopter arrived at the scene. Using specialized equipment, they lowered a rescue basket into the water and carefully lifted James out of the ocean. He was finally safe. Taken to a hospital, he was treated for severe sunburn, multiple jellyfish stings, dehydration, and extreme exhaustion. Despite everything he had endured, he survived, and remarkably, he made a full recovery. His story stands in stark contrast to the others. While Samantha and Cameron's tragedies serve as warnings, James's survival is a rare example of resilience, determination, and sheer luck aligning in the right way. Incidents like these raise an important question. How common is it for people to fall overboard from cruise ships? Surprisingly, while such stories often gain widespread attention, they are relatively rare when viewed in the broader context. With millions of people traveling on cruise ships every month around the world, only a small number of overboard incidents are reported. However, when they do occur, the chances of survival are extremely low. Statistics suggest that only a fraction of those who fall into open water from a cruise ship are ever found alive. The reasons are clear. Vast distances, delayed response times, harsh environmental conditions, and the sheer difficulty of locating a person in open ocean all contribute to the danger. In many cases, certain factors tend to be involved. Alcohol consumption, risky behavior, or unusual circumstances often play a role. Cruise operators frequently emphasize that such incidents rarely happen without some contributing element. At the same time, advancements in technology are beginning to offer hope. Some modern ships are now being equipped with sophisticated detection systems, including thermal imaging cameras capable of identifying when a person falls overboard. These systems can alert crew members within seconds, dramatically reducing response times. Although still being refined, such innovations could significantly improve survival chances in the future. Until then, these stories remain powerful reminders. The ocean is vast, unpredictable, and unforgiving. What may seem like a small decision, a step too close to the edge, a moment of impulsiveness, or a risky challenge, can have irreversible consequences. Behind every statistic is a human story. Lives filled with dreams, families left waiting, and moments that changed everything. And sometimes survival comes down to nothing more than a single chance, taken at exactly the right time.